your first interview, Chelsea?
Yeah, you know what's crazy is the beginning of the year. You know, I don't know if everyone does this, but I read a letter to myself for like the next year, and I was like, I really want to get interviewed for something.
Really? I'm like
Honestly,
one of your bucket lists right here.
you're my bucket list.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad I could make it happen right before Christmas too, so timing's aligned.
Yeah, I'm from LA. I feel like that's obvious. I feel like I give Cali vibes. Yeah, I'm from LA. I'm born and raised in LA. Yeah. Where are you from?
Where am I from? That's on me. You're
Yeah.
back in the interview to me now.
I was like, this could be my biggest problem, not like to ask you.
No, it's actually no mine. But the funny thing is that honestly, for the past like 4 interviews I've had back to back, it's the first time people have been asking questions to me, which wasn't usually the case. So like these next like 4 interviews that are gonna come out, including yours, there's gonna be a lot of my information in there. But I'm Italian originally, so I'm from Italy, and I moved to the U.S. in 2017 for college.
Oh, cool. Did you move immediately to LA?
No, I was in the East Coast. I was in Boston for 4 years, and I've been here for like a year and a half too now. So
Cool.
it's my second year in LA, but I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of the city, and
I always ask people like when they say like they moved to LA. I'm like, oh, how do you love LA? I just
yeah,
clap.
yeah.
That's a love.
But I do love LA. Like it has so many good points, a few bad ones, but honestly, I think the good ones outweigh the bad. So
I hear the bad part.
gotta,
Like LA is.
no, LA is amazing, but I mean, look, you got to be a type of person to thrive in LA. You know, you got to be one type of like very different type. Like a lot of different type of people can thrive in LA, but it can eat you. It's kind of like the city can give you so much, but it can take so much as well. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. But
1,000%.
yeah, if you know how to deal with it. So, did you go to school? What's your day like?
It's about me. So no, I don't. I immediately decided like in high school, I was like, I don't want to go to college. Right. I decided sophomore year. I was like, no. And I ever since then I was just like, let me try to find ways where I could just find myself in life and in people, and so I just landed on I've always done art, but I was like, let me meet people and just I'm not like a super good businesswoman. Okay. I'm like the worst businesswoman of all time. Like every art project that I've ever done to make money has always I do not break even. This is not
really not even it's not even about making money here. It's like breaking even. You lose money.
Oh, I've lost money, so much money. I'm terrible. I'm here to auction, Diego.
Yeah. We have to sell it. We got to redeem ourselves here.
Oh, I'm Chelsea.
Exactly.
I make art pieces, and but my main thing in life, I went to art school here in LA, and like high school. It was, maybe you've seen it. It's like the squiggly building in downtown. It's called VAPA.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. But in there I would like sell stuff, and I made more money there than I did out of school. But immediately I was like, nah, I don't know what it is yet, but I know that my purpose in life is just not to go to school. But I am gonna go back to school though.
Really? No.
Because I feel like if you're not learning something in life, you're like immediately the second you stop learning, I feel like it's the second that just like there's no point in living if you're not learning. You should always be learning something. And I have fallen in love with like making animation, and so that's what
you went to like graphic design school type of shit.
Yeah. Because I mean, like YouTube University will only get you so far. I don't.
I agree, but I think YouTube University is a great place to start.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the real identificator if you want to like if you're truly passionate about something, because you do it yourself. You went to art high school? Like I've never heard that. That is probably like only in LA type of thing.
Yeah, it's not like Victorious. It's not like High School Musical. It is fucking awful. I actually went to that school split up in academies, but I went, so it's visual, dance, music, and theater.
Okay.
And I was in the theater program.
Oh, nice, nice,
I
nice.
now give off theater kid energy.
A little bit, actually. I'm not gonna
8
lie.
in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, like I would draw on clothes. You gotta wait for me.
I'll wait.
Okay. But I'm gonna cover my camera so you have to talk because I
Okay.
feel like the mirror is gonna like expose me. I'm wearing pants, but
You be. You do what you have to do. It's okay.
I've returned. It's really bad now because it's just like ink all over it. But I remember this is like the first piece.
Okay, fuck. Nice.
Yeah. It was like
Alright.
it was really just like me being like, I'm broke, I like clothes, and I want to rock stuff that people don't have, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, absolutely. I think that really relates to PS Unique, kind of just creating.
yeah, you made your own freaking app. Like,
Yeah,
that's
no, I did.
dope.
It took a while, but I did. And I don't know how many people are using this app, so I don't even know if it
I
was
have,
really useful. You have it?
yeah, I have it.
Woo!
Hold on.
You make okay, so you started doing this. Now you're into animation. What do you like about
Yeah.
animation?
I fell in by accident, or he's not gonna watch this. Okay, my cousin is a jerk, and he's a big animation shot. You know, he's a big shot,
Okay.
and I I had started a clothing brand actually a while ago. Did I break even? That's for you to decide. No, I did. I thank you. Thank you. Anyone who's ever supported anything I've ever made. I made
You
stickers.
did? You did break even or no? On the clothing.
They go, that is so personal. Do not.
No, now I need to know. I need to know your successes and failures. I'm counting them.
I make stuff for the passion and for the love of it.
No, you're right. I love that. Honestly, I appreciate it.
No, but anyway, I had asked my cousin for like a little animation for our like Instagram at the time. And I was like, hey, like I'll barter, you know, I'll like do something for you and like, or like whatever it is, I got you. And he was like, you can't afford me. That's the point. I can't afford you. So it came out of being like, damn, I'm never, and this is so bad. Maybe it's pride or ego, but that's, you know, ego death.
It is
I
what
was, yeah, I was like, I gotta learn how to do it, and I can do it. Whatever it is that like I want to do, I can learn how to do it. Like, so I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll make it. So it was just me doing frame by frame, drawing it. Like I'm fucking Walt Disney in the 1930s, like frame by frame, just trying to figure it out. And I made something. And it was like, yo, I don't need people.
Is your
I
cousin proud of you now or what? Is he like, oh, you're great, you're in the
He
legacy?
doesn't follow me on Instagram.
Really? Hey, you gotta shout him out for being a bad cousin. So you got into it, and what was the animation like? It was for like a brand. It was for your brand.
Yeah, it's for my brand. At the time, it was called Not Included. But I started this in 2019, so
Okay.
right before COVID, and then I kept it up until 2020, and then you know COVID, I like lost my job and stuff. But I had actually I had turned my personal page into, I just like deleted all my photos and just started posting my art. Plenty of people supported it, and it was really dope, and it was a great time. I like
Amazing. So that's good to hear because we're gonna need some animation bosses here at PS Unique sooner or later. So you're on the list. You're on the list, Chelsea. You know, we can both relate on the fact that I haven't broken even on PS Unique either. So
let's go, King.
we're on the same boat, but it's okay. It's the same raft, shall I say?
I'm just throwing you like the circle.
Yeah, no,
Drowning.
I'm drowning here. But I don't know what piece we're gonna auction out. You kind of have full.
Hold on. It's this guy.
I like this guy. It's an interesting. Is this your body or something? This is your body?
Oh, yeah.
Did you just like you just put yourself like
with my boobs?
Really?
It's really big.
It's very erotic. Hey, we can't see the boobs. Nice. I like it.
That's the most important part.
I like it a lot actually. It's very interesting. How'd you choose the colors for it?
I wanted to do like something infrared. My character I've always used is the heart girl. It's just a big heart, and then like the body that's the first piece I made. Ever since then, it was just a character. I always say like I'm really lucky that art is subjective. Like I count my lucky stars that it's really up to whoever sees it. You know, I don't want to gatekeep art, but you know, you've ever seen like art? It's like just a dot or like a square, and you're like, who buys this? And you're like, what does it mean? Like, what's the point? And I think I'm like, that's the coolest thing about it, you know,
Yeah.
is that someone will buy this fucking square.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So vulgar, but
No, you can say whatever you want here. We're very freedom of speech, so.
yeah. But Heart Girl was just like, I feel like ideas just come to you and you have to do them. And at the time she had like no meaning. It was just like I just saw this image of this girl in my head and she had a heart head, and that's just
It's
what
kind
I
of,
love.
it's kind of like if like the heart too. It's not like you made it like a simple like cute heart. It's like an actual heart. So like if I were to visualize it, it's kind of like a scary thought. Like
Yeah.
if
Oh
a girl
yeah.
is, like naked with like a heart head, like it makes me think of like Resident Evil type of stuff. So
Yeah.
um, yeah.
um actually one of my biggest goals in life is to make a horror film.
Okay.
Horror. One of my favorite movies of all time is Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh,
And
the one with the fucking.
yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, yeah,
Hell
exactly. Yeah, it is like that.
yeah. Um, and she's like eating the grapes, and it's like, girl, they told you not to eat the food. But that's like one of the biggest inspirations, I think, probably subconsciously, it was like
Uh-huh.
this terrifying. I've always wanted to make a horror film, and I know that Heart Girl is going to be like a monster, like Pan's Labyrinth, like pale man. Like,
Interesting. What do you like about horror? I don't know. Like I like horror, like in very specific settings. But would I sit down and like by myself watch a horror movie for like straight up pleasure? I don't know.
you're gonna be scared.
No, but honestly, like, no, it's not. It's out of my comfort zone. I'm like, I want to laugh.
Mm. I like comedy. I love stand-up comedy. That's
Okay.
what I do for fun. So
But
that's like,
you do that for fun? Like you're
yeah,
stand.
can't you see that's hilarious?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say we need to recruit you. No, actually, no.
Terrible. He was like, wait, actually, for real?
No, but
No. What do I like about horror? I actually hate horror movies. Like, I'm terrified. But I think the coolest thing about it is that it makes you feel something. A comedy can make you laugh, and you know, it can make you laugh, like laughter and crying, and those reactions are stuff that we feel when we're born. You know, like no one taught you how to laugh. You know, nobody taught you how to cry. It's
uh-huh.
just something that you've done.
Yeah,
It's just
like breathing and stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, breathing. But at what point did we get scared? You know, like where does fear come from? I don't know. I think fear is like one of the most complicated emotions or
That's
feelings.
a good question. But who are you to say that babies don't feel fear? You know?
That's what I'm saying. How would we know?
Yeah, but exactly. But like when they cry, I reckon they must be somewhat fearful, right? Like that's what we can associate,
No,
like physical. Well,
yeah, no.
how do I know that they're having like the comedy? How do I know that they're laughing? Like
But
actually,
how do you know they're just not hungry? You know?
yeah, you're right. But how do I know? Do I not know that kids are just laugh to laugh, and not necessarily because something's funny? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's also like, what do we find funny? And like, yeah, it's everything is subjective. But at what point do we fear? Like, do we fear? Like,
Like
what point?
I think a baby that wakes up at night and
Mhm.
cries in the monitor and sees like no parent around, I think
See,
that's
so,
because of fear. I
yeah.
think that is a result of fear because loneliness or whatever the fuck it is. That's what I imagine. I don't know. I don't remember
No,
myself as a baby.
I
Um,
I agree with you. I just don't, I just feel like that's something that we don't know if it's taught or if it's a feeling. At what point
yeah,
it's like one of the later feelings. I feel like,
dude, absolutely. I mean, I think I know when I try to think of it's a good question. I think when I try to think about it logically, I'm like, okay,
mhm,
fear is a very important factor for like human survival, for survival in general.
yeah,
Like you need fear, you need to be fearful to be able to understand to mitigate your risks. So I
yeah.
do think it's something that you're born with, as much as like it kind of maybe comes down based on events, because you kind of have to.
No, probably like evolutionary. We
Yeah,
definitely fears.
you definitely need that. I mean,
Yeah.
we just all be fucking crazy kooks.
Mhm. I feel like horror movies are the one thing that a lot of people don't like. Like they hate it. They
Yeah,
hate it.
actually, I think a lot of people love that shit. I don't know why though. That's why I'm asking. I don't.
Yeah, I think thrill and adrenaline is a huge thing. It's why
Yeah.
people like it and go back
Uh-huh.
for it. But I think it physically makes you feel something, you
Yeah,
know?
so like the jump scares.
Yeah, physically your body is just like it's kind of where even if you're not super it's I think it's one of the movies where like you're super present. It's kind of like what I strive to do in life or think is like I'm always present, that I'm there, that he's not present, he's texting.
I just received the text. It was like a one-time thing. Like, hey, why you
No.
called me? It was like a 1 second, like, ooh.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, not present. Wow.
but I like that.
No.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
I love like special effects movies. I like Videodrome. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen Videodrome. What is that about?
Ooh, okay. Videodrome is a film by Cronenberg, and basically Cronenberg, and too. But basically, in the film, he's watching TV. I'm sure I remember correctly, but he's watching TV, and like he stumbles across like a porn channel, and
classic.
Thought I was gonna go, but it's like a BDSM thing.
Oh.
And then the more he watches it, the more he realizes that it's like real, like it's happening. So he's like obsessed with this idea of like finding the person or like whatever. And throughout, like he gets involved and wrapped in trying to find who this is. But in it, like the special effects in it, he's the dude who directed The Fly and stuff like that. But so all these special effects are like real, like they're not like it's not CGI, it's none of that. And it's just like this there's a part where like the TV just like open, like his stomach opens and like a gun comes out, and it's just disgusting. It's one of my favorite movies.
What's the movie called?
Videodrome. Video DROME.
Okay, let's get deep into it, Chelsea. What is your purpose in life then?
What the hell? Dude, I'm just gonna start crying. Has anyone cried on the
No one has cried yet. I still haven't brought anyone to tears.
Did I cry?
I was hoping this would be the first,
Okay. What is my purpose in life?
Yeah.
Oof.
Well, what is people's purpose in life? It doesn't have to be just you, but it can be you.
What is like the purpose that like humans are on the planet,
or you? One of the two, whatever you
are. Oof. My mind went immediately kind of dark.
Yeah, no, it can be because I'm trying to talk about things that people don't talk about, and if people have the time to listen to this, I hope that they will engage them to have the same type of conversations with people that they're close with and investigate these subjects. So I
love this kind of stuff. This is stuff I talk about all the time.
Yeah.
I think to suffer.
Okay.
But hold on.
It start dark.
Hold on. It's an upside. But I think it's to experience. I think there is a purpose for things, and I've experienced stuff that isn't coincidental, that just it feels divine, it feels bigger than me. It's stuff that like I tell people like, dude, that would only happen to you, or like Truman Show kind of stuff, like Absolutely. Jim Carrey, like yeah, the rain cloud only above my head type of stuff. I think a lot of it, I think of nature, because we're not the only ones on this planet. I think of like a deer, or like the turtles that don't make it, or when people go, and I think like a lot of people like religious people will sometimes say, well, that's God's plan, and it's like, I don't think so. I don't think God's plan was for a baby to die, and for this family to feel such pain, or I don't think that was a plan. I think we experience really great stuff in this life, and we experience not so great stuff. Tragedy, like comedies are the biggest tragedies in theater, or like Romeo and Juliet is a comedy. It's not like a tragedy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I always thought that was a tragedy. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a comedy. Some would argue.
I didn't know that. It's good to know.
I think, I think we're here to laugh. I think we're here to cry. I think we're here to experience. And to be present. That's my biggest thing, is to feel through everything we're feeling. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know why, but I think to suffer is a huge one, and to make it out.
I have a question for that. Well, I have two questions actually. One of them I thought was very intriguing. Like, I mean, you it makes sense. What you say makes sense to me. Why would God want an innocent,
Mhm.
form of life just to end there without it having the other counterpart? How, like I reckon suffering is amazing if something comes out of that suffering, right? Like I think that it's kind of like
No,
suffering is.
nothing does, but like maybe a lesson does. It's like maybe
I
we
think
don't.
I think it's like kind of like a butterfly effect. I think everything, like any type of like world suffering. I mean, and especially us, it's like no one, and I say this to no one can go through life without ever suffering once. You can be like the
Yeah,
king of the world. You can be like whatever you want, brought on.
I think if you love someone, then at some point you're gonna suffer
Oh yeah, for death,
because they're
and everything,
on
for sure,
or
for
or
sure.
something.
But so my question was this: is it's like if God wouldn't want that, why does that happen? Like, why are there people that just randomly get some shitty cards and have a shitty game of life, and even with all that shittiness, not only they get to live it through, but it ends even somewhat early on in the stages. Like, why does that occur to some people and not others, and why do we get to live the blessing lives that we do?
Because they were shitty people in their past lives, Diego.
Okay, is that why?
No,
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 no, but
I'm
it's interesting. That's some people would say, yeah, maybe that you got to go through some shit to.
no, I don't know. I honestly sometimes I'm like, I have this mindset. I've had stuff happen, tragedies, and I'll go, why does this keep happening to me? Like, why do I keep? I'm in these situations. Like, why do I feel like just misfortune just after another?
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I'll be like, I didn't get anything out of this. I didn't get a lesson. I didn't get this. I didn't get this. Like, what, I'm just here to suffer. Like, what is the point? And I think, oof, and I just think the point is to experience,
Uh-huh.
and that's all here sharing just this one collective experience.
Uh-huh.
I think, you know, in this, you don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be. You can be like the biggest atheist in the world. You
Uh-huh.
don't have to be, but everyone can agree that at some point in their life, someone has walked in the room, and immediately the energy has just changed. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, you were in a room and someone walked in, and it just felt like oof, like they were either sad or whatever, or maybe they're just annoying,
Mhm.
or whatever the reason is. They came in, and just the attitude changed.
Mhm.
Something that you just felt, you can feel empathy, you can feel those things.
Mhm.
It's just like genuine feelings. Like I can feel it in my stomach, I can feel it in my chest, or and I think that in itself is just it's proof that we're here sharing an experience.
Mhm.
You know.
For someone that has suffered so much, you look like kind of a really happy person, which is interesting.
I have a really easy time talking to like strangers, or if I see someone on the street and I really, really want to talk to them, like I'll just talk to them.
Mhm.
And I think when you start realizing that like when you have more successes than like fails of just talking to people too, maybe that too, it's like you realize that the stuff you build in your head of being like, oh, it's not gonna work out, the lies we tell ourselves, you realize that like we're all really just human. And
Mhm.
I always this makes me feel really like better about myself. And it sounds really not great, but I do this every time I get nervous. I'll just go like, I'm not better than anyone else, and no one is better than me.
Mhm.
Like that in itself has gotten me through so much.
Mhm.
When you realize that like you're just a human experiencing life, it's just so much more fun.
Mhm.
And even those like tragedies and stuff, you're able to make jokes of it. You're able to like, yeah, it's just easier to get through life when you go, I'm just a human. Like I'm so tiny. Like I'm
Yeah.
not a big deal. And I think that ego death of like being like, some people are like, oh, I'm the main character, like main character vibes, and it's like, yeah, you are.
I
You
mean,
are.
we're all the main characters, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you are the creator of your own reality. That's very true. But when you go like, yeah, what it is smart to have that mindset of just like stuff's not happening to me. I'm happening with the
Mhm.
stuff. I'm
No,
experiencing.
yeah. I mean, I think the character thing is very important, and I think it's all these things have such a very fine balance where they're like good for you, like ego. It's great; it can help you out, but at the same time, it can destroy you. It's like you don't want to go cocky, but you want to be confident.
Yeah.
It's like, kind of like that thing right in the middle. But you can easily judge people like based upon what you think it is, and might not necessarily be that. But I think having that point of view is good because it just always kind of brings you back, like saying that we're all just humans and fuck it, I'm experiencing this. And where I relate to your point is that I do think that, and this is the way that I live my life. I think that I feel very blessed to even be able to live this and to have gotten this far. So kind of every other day is kind of a blessing. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'll forget about it and I'll get very into my things and, not realize that I am present. And I work a lot on that. I think that that's a huge goal in life, is like to really experience everything that goes on, and like, and every time something does go on, take an extra second to reflect on how it makes you feel, or like physically, mentally, and doing all these different things that allow you to just to pinpoint that moment in time, right? I can say I was there at that time because I remembered to feel myself and to remember myself. So I think that's a great point. But but so I wanted to go back to where you said like those energies and the people that come into the room and give good or bad energies. Why are there some people that even give out energies and others just don't? Some people are just very transparent. They're there, they could be there or not there. And how do you think those guys live their lives? Like the person that's like there and not there, but he just, how the fuck does he go? Is he like a CPU? Like, is he fucking?
Right? I think in their lifespan, at some point they might be there.
Okay.
And they might give off that energy. In that point in time, though, let's say that they just come in, they're just always coming in a room. Let me get this straight. You're talking about people who come in.
They're just there. I mean, it's the person that you just, and I say this with a lot of love because I must have been that person many times, but like,
same.
People that you just like, you're like in a room and you don't notice them. You're like, it doesn't, but with all the love in the world, like they're just there. Like they make a good like room setting, but like they're not pivotal to whatever's going on.
It's like that character that like you didn't even realize, like, oh shoot, they're still outside. I thought they were
exactly.
That is so mean. I've been that person outside, so
no, it happens.
I think it's just, why do they live their life like that? Well, first I want to say thank you for sharing your experience of like how you see the world. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, you're welcome. Thank you for your experience and yours.
And second, I think those people, I think at some point, hopefully that's probably why they're here, is to learn that it's skill. It is a skill. I think 1,000% the ability to be in a room and to make yourself known. You don't even have to try hard. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to do anything, but just to check in with someone, to be there, to be present. When you're on, like, there's people who go in a room, they're on their phone the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's the worst.
They got their head down. They're not trying to connect with anybody. They're not trying to be there. It's like, I think, okay, how many senses do we have? Smelling, what is it, 5?
Oh yeah, I think they're 5, yeah. Smelling, touch, hearing, seeing,
believing.
Touch, hearing, seeing.
Are we missing one? Smelling.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well, smelling. I think there's another sense, a sixth sense, that it's like consciousness. Like we all have a conscious. Like we have for sure had guilty consciences where we've done something wrong and we felt it. We're like, oh, that wasn't. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say. Maybe some people don't have that. I've experienced people who feel like, they're ruthless. They're like sociopaths.
That happens. They're cold.
They're just cold. But I think once we're conscious of like where we're at, and once we start realizing that right now, me and you even talking, this will be a memory. Like this will be a memory when this conversation is over. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a good one because I'm great. But it's just when you check in and you have that, it's like so much easier to navigate life. Like and that skill, then people will realize you're there. You have to be there for people to realize, to notice you, because even quiet people get noticed, but because they're there, you know what I'm saying? They said something, they pitched in, and I get social anxiety. I 1,000% get it. I've experienced it too. Or I don't want to be there, and I don't want to be there. My body does not want to be there. But I think it's that fake it till you make it kind of stuff, Eventually you start believing it.
I see. No, yeah. I think that's a great point. I was saying that because I met a stripper once, and I was at a strip club in Vegas.
Not what I thought. Okay.
And then we just started talking life. No, it was the most interesting thing ever because she was expecting me to get a lap dance, and I was like hella broke. So I was like, nah, I can't afford a lap dance. So she just sat down next to me, and I had a drink, and so we were drinking, and she started telling me this crazy story. And she said that she really believes that she lives in like the Matrix. She was like dead serious about this too. She was like, look, Diego, you seem like someone I can tell this shit to, and this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. I sit down and listen because I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
And so she starts talking and tells me this, like, that literally that same night, look, her idea of life is this, is that there are people in this world that do things and become people and kind of like manage this world. But if you ever played a video game, you know how important the CPUs are. They're just there, but they ask the same question to the same people. They're just,
I was gonna say,
walk
like,
around, go boom, boom, like,
yeah.
exactly. And she was like, look, I meet these CPUs every day because I work with them. They come in here and they come with like the real players. I'm like very interested because this girl like talks about it like she knows it. She's like, I know this is going on, and she, you know, there wasn't an ounce of doubt in her voice while she was telling me the story. So she's like, yeah, look, whenever I see a group come in, I know which ones are the CPUs, which one's the actual player, and I tend to go to the CPUs because they're always much easier for me to kind of like milk and like get the money out of and whatnot. And this one time there was this guy that came into the strip club, and he introduced himself for a second. She was like, oh, talked to him a second, then went to do like a lap dance. And it was this guy, I think it was this Indian dude. His name was like, I don't know what it was, like, I don't want to paraphrase, but anyway, this Indian dude with this specific name and this specific green shirt. And so she tells me, yes. So I did the lap dance for him, and then I waited another hour, and I went right back to the same guy. And the same guy introduced himself like back to back. I'm this guy, and did the same conversation to her, the same conversation, and she did the same conversation back, and she brought him, and they danced together, and that's how she milked the guy this 2 nights in a row. And she was telling me like this happens very often, that she has these interactions with people that she knows that she doesn't have to go anywhere to kind of get where she wants to get because there's nothing really there. It's kind of like it's very coded. Like the things that she has to say to get this guy to give her more money or less money, everything is like kind of like a game to her. And she's like been like analyzing all the people that
it's
go.
like have you ever played? There's like games where you can decide what to say, and each one has different outcomes.
Exactly. It was exactly that situation. And she said that these people just come in and out. And I don't know. Look, I don't know if I believe the stripper from Vegas, but she was very like. Look, to this day, I still remember the things that she said because I don't know. Sometimes it does make sense. Sometimes it makes sense that some people are driving the wheel more than others. They're just kind of, as you said, there.
Yeah.
And I'm not part of the people that are not theirs lives their whole life. So I don't know. Maybe tomorrow that guy's there. So maybe
they might wake up. Yeah.
maybe. So I don't know about that. But when I don't know. I thought it was an interesting.
That is a really interesting story. I think I think what if, like, also I've had that where I've met people who completely believe like we're completely 1,000% in simulation.
Yeah.
And I always talk about like there's this book that I read, but
What is the book called?
it's like a self-help book. Cringe. Well, it's like The Power of Now, though.
Oh, Erica Tolle. That's my first book I ever read.
It's one of my favorite books too.
It's amazing. I mean, that guy is a fucking legend.
Yeah, I think that was
incredible. That book, if you take it word by word, it's like it will change your life if you really take into account the things that this man says. So
one of my favorite books. I think that kind of helped me like be like present and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was gonna go with that. Oh no, actually, this is from a separate book. It was about everything that we see around us, right? Like building and just like schools or everything, everything around us has been a death project. I don't know if you've heard that.
A death project.
Yeah. So it's basically what it means is that we live our lives trying, even in some way, even if we're like, oh, I'm just like cruising through life, there's people just like not gonna make their mark on the world, but in some way we all have death projects, like stuff that we want to do or leave behind. Like everything around us is a death project. Things that people like you and me do something before they died. And it's kind of weird. It's like it's so weird to think about when you go out, but I think just realizing that everything around you was someone's debt and like someone was really like almost like a sacrifice.
No, I liked that. I liked it a lot.
yeah, it kind of is like you realize that like some people are like, oh, I have trust issues, and it's like, no, you don't. You
Hmm.
just allowed yourself to believe that because when you go on a bridge, whatever, you trust that the people made it correctly.
It's a good
When you
point.
drive, you trust that other people know how to drive. I mean, they don't, but you trust all the time without realizing it. You know, even if you don't trust a people, you're still trusting that this earth isn't just gonna collapse in itself.
Uh-huh.
Like it's stuff that we tell ourselves that we believe. And so sometimes I'll be like, yeah, maybe we are in a simulation, but some people really believe it. You can always prove yourself right. Like is what I was just talking to
Uh-huh.
someone about. You can always, if you set something in your brain, you could prove it right, even if it's not. You could like rationalize it to say that you were right, you know?
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm really bad at communicating. And then later, whatever, you get your food back and you're like, okay, they say enjoy your food and you go, you too.
Yeah.
You know? You'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm so bad at communicating.
Yeah.
Hold yourself.
Uh-huh.
And we all do. It's a mistake. We all say enjoy your food, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I think, yeah, I think it is true. Sometimes I feel like, dude, am I in a simulation? Like something I said I wanted it and it happened, and
That's where
it's
you said like that godly. You said it was like you said something. It was God, not
been a
godly.
lot.
What did you say?
um,
Yeah, you did say it.
this is like
Um, no, you said something about it was godly timing or something. It was like
body timing. Yeah,
divine
yeah, yeah.
timing. Yeah, yeah.
It just
Um,
feels good.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think you're absolutely right. Like, I
yeah.
think I think
Wait, what's your view on it?
that
What the hell?
yeah, my view on this. So no,
You
because
told
I
me about a
think
stripper.
I'm
I want to hear your view.
um, look, I know this one thing. One time I was really out of it, and I started thinking about it, and I got into like somewhat of like, and this is like not what I think about it, but I thought it was an interesting way to view it, especially because we were talking about this whole simulation thing, and the way that I see the simulation and when it makes sense to me, it's like, okay, put yourself in a hypothetical scenario, okay? You and
Okay.
I, we've achieved, full enlightenedness. Like I'm enlightened as fuck, and I'm at the supreme level. Like I'm godly, okay? And I'm living with these other godly people. So hypothetically, I'm in heaven, and the
Okay.
hypothetical heaven, where like the gods live, and we're there, we're happy, and we obviously need like more gods. Like we need to populate the world. But how do we make gods be born? Like how can we know for sure that the individuals that we allow into this world of ours, which we're supreme, whatever, have the understanding that we have? How is this what we're living through right now not the best teacher for like actual understanding of life? And when you say like reincarnation, that we have to do it over and over and over again, that makes sense to me. Like if you fuck up X amount of times and you haven't achieved whatever you have to achieve in a lifetime, because I think the lifetime is kind of like the measuring point. It's like you have to be able to achieve all these different things in that one lifetime, and you have to be consistent too. Like you can't say one thing one day and do it again the other. Like how is this not an amazing little program to like put souls in? Hypothetically, I'm a god, and I'm like, okay, we have this little
Like boot camp.
soul. Exactly, we
Yeah.
have this little soul. Let's put it in life and let him do it as many times as he needs to kind
Yeah.
of get out of it on the other end. And when he dies and he's achieved everything that he has to, he can enter this world that we live in, which is like just elevated, an elevated sense of ourselves. So when the simulation comes up, I had this thought, and I thought that would make sense to me. I mean, I would make people do this shit over and over and over again until they get things right.
I thought I'd be like, go
Huh?
on little hackers.
Yeah,
Like,
let them do their thing in this like very constructive, because
I think this world is perfect too. I
it,
think
I
we're
mean,
my friend Sophia, she says we're navigating an imperfect world,
in an
and
imperfect.
we're in an imperfect world. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think perfection. Like you need chaos to have perfection. Like there's never a point where
Mm.
you can have a specific point on that line. Like there's always a back and forth.
I always say that too. I'm like a perfectionist, but I'm like, my perfection is different from your perfection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And but even there, like I think there are things on this earth that are not subjective. Like there's this one guy that talked this one time, and I don't know who he was, but I remember very much what he said. And he was talking about like objective art. Like what in the
Mm.
world, what is objective art? Like today, as you said, the square on the
NFT.
wall. this and that, like that has somewhat of a subjective view to it. But
Mm.
where there's the actual objective art is like where things, or like anyone that is watching this thing or this piece will have the same understanding of it, but only if they're at the same level of understanding. Like I can't ask someone with this imagination to be able to grasp something that's this big, right? So if you have that big of an imagination and I show you this piece and you have kind of like the rules and sets, you should be able to understand exactly what I wanted to say in an objective point of view. So like I'd say like, architecture, like, how some churches were built. They were built with specific ratios and angles that tomorrow I can get out of that information. Like I can extrapolate, the golden ratio, the Fibonacci
I was
sequence,
say the golden, yeah.
all these different things, like sacred geometry, whatever the fuck it is, that have like all these different symbolism in them. Like I can extract that out of a piece of art if I were to see it with the right eyes. So I think that's what subjective art. But so like that's what I think that's what I strive for as an artist. It's like to create something that can last in time, but at the same time, like say exactly what I wanted to say to the people that have my level of understanding. And it can be a small one or a large one, whatever it is. But like
do you find that that's like do you find that that's really hard every time you make something? Like you have that in your head of being like, this has, because for me, when I make something, I'm like, I want to make something that's timeless. And it's so weird because time isn't real, like time isn't really linear, but I want it to be understood like in my parameters of my, like we were saying, a level of understanding, but able to reach, for me, I guess, to reach that's why I'm not even telling you the meaning of this like heart or whatever, because at the time I made it when I was 16, it means something completely different every time I make it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But it's still timeless because it's the same or whatever. But do you find that that's hard parameters for yourself to make for something every time, or do you like hold that for yourself at a standard and go like, I rock with this piece or I don't rock with this piece because to me in your own art?
Yeah, it's a great question. It does make sense. The way that I see it in those regards, I feel like I'm so far from the place where like I can say yes with confidence. I'm able to make objective art. Today, I think anything I'm doing is just really just practice, and I think to be able to get to a level that you can confidently say, look, this will be timeless and this will speak for itself. Like I think hours and hours and hours of actual like practice have to go into it before you can kind of master that aspect of it, and even master it for yourself. Like you don't know exactly. Like, I don't want to follow trends. I'm not going to start doing Fibonacci shit on all my stuff and be like, okay, I Fibonacci my, just to make it.
Everywhere.
So it's like I have to find my truths first, and I have to discover them and be able to translate them into things that I want to show others, truths that I want other people to know. But I have to experience them, right? Like I have to have an arsenal of things that I can say, look, this is what I've lived and this is what I know, not because someone told me, because I've lived it. And so that I have this stuff that I want to incorporate there. And I think it takes a lifetime. Like I think you never stop. And I think there's never a moment where you're like, oh, I've made it. I'm now this person, that person, because I think everyone's self-conscious at all times in their lives. Like
I think also even when you whatever, and I made like a weird film on this like a long time ago, but I always talk about fulfillment, and that is something that it's the most impossible thing to achieve. It's not real. I feel like I think of it as time. It isn't real. Like the way that people view fulfillment isn't real, but we experience it almost every day.
Absolutely.
And we don't realize that a lot of the things that are fulfilling and the reason why we keep doing it or whatever, even things like going to the gym and you're mad sore the next day, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't feel it, you're in pain, but maybe you're fulfilled in that moment because you went out and you did it. And for me, I feel like even if you were to make whatever it is, make it in your head, whatever that is to anybody, even then you finally did everything you wanted to accomplish. Every goal you've ever set for yourself, everything that you wanted, maybe didn't play out exactly how you wanted, but it happened. And now what? And that's some,
I think it's unrealistic to believe that you can achieve, like, fully achieve anything in life. And I think that's where like it differentiates yourself. It's like you have to set yourself goals that you can achieve and you can be fulfilled by these goals. But like the idea of like thinking that, these long-term, and I can say it's like the generic, oh, I want to be famous or I want to make money. If you think that fame or money will give you what you want, and at that point you're already starting on the really bad path, because
Yeah.
like, as long as you seek things from the outside to fulfill the inside, you know, it doesn't have the same consistency. Like it doesn't feed you in the same way.
But a lot of people who have achieved those things are super unhappy.
Exactly. The idea is, but that's because I think that's a human condition in life. Like the grass will always fucking be greener on the other side. Like that.
I
It's
think
mathematical. There's
yeah.
nothing you can do about it. You know, like you
I
got to be
feel
satisfied. You know. Sorry.
yeah. No, you're good. I was cutting you off. But I feel like we always are searching for something else. Like
Yeah.
even doesn't matter. There's this what is it? Like I always say this. My brain is not computing. But my CPU brain is
Yeah.
glitching. But basically I feel like we always have these not inconsistencies, but we have we finally have everything we want, and then something's not enough.
Yeah.
Something is never enough. Like it's always that yin and yang nature. That's why I say like we're here to suffer, but we're here to love. We're here to do the like you cannot have one thing without the
You're
other.
absolutely right. Yeah. It's endless. The
You know
path.
when people,
Yeah.
yeah. You know when people will say like I hate this. Doesn't I don't know. Maybe I'm just if I'm sad and someone goes, "Don't worry, like everything will be okay soon. Like everything will work out. Everything will be okay." I fucking sorry. I hate that. I really hate that. Because I'm like let me feel what I'm feeling.
Mhm.
And okay, I'm feeling what I'm feeling. And yes, it's what you're saying is like it just doesn't make me feel better because it's true. It is true. Things will get better.
Okay.
And then won't, and then they'll get bad again. And then they'll get better. And then they'll get bad again. And that's okay. That's part of life. But to tell people, and I just feel like it's a lie we tell ourselves, like everything will be okay. It's true.
Mhm.
And then it's not going to be. And then once you realize that like sometimes things suck, like, then it's like, I wish I knew that sooner. I wish that I knew that some things would suck so I could navigate it better. So I could go, let me feel what I'm feeling and let me like run through it. Am I boring you, Diego?
Right, so I'm gonna turn off the
I'm
camera.
on you.
You
So-
think you were in your past life, by the
Oh.
way.
Oh, yeah, this is about me. Just like stole like your ship. I just like who was I in my past life? Well,
Yeah.
first, happy birthday, Scorpio.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Said that's crazy. The birthmark thing is crazy. But I also read something once that like your birthmark is it's just like stupid, maybe
Tell me.
like where like your soulmate in your past life or whatever. I mean, I don't believe in that kind of. I kind of. Where like they like most like kiss you or like cute stuff like
I know that sounds
you
weird.
weren't shot. Maybe you weren't shot.
I don't think so. I heard no. The only reason why I said this thing about the birthmark because it was this very interesting article, and I'm so sad that we're talking about all these interesting facts and we don't have anything to kind of like boop, 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 oh, fact
Like,
check.
oh,
Yeah, fact check me. But there's this culture, and I don't know if it was ancient Greece or whatnot, but with their elderly that they knew that were gonna die, they would kind of kill them before their death, and they would stab them in specific locations. And then when the next batch of babies would be born, they would analyze the babies to see where they had birthmarks to then relate them to the guy that previously died and be like, okay, this was your previous life. You were this person, that person. So they could learn each time they would start again. And have
that's
that.
crazy.
Yeah. So.
I love articles like that. I've read like where like it's also crazy like a lot of children at the age of 2 will like sometimes it's like I don't know why 2, but 2 is also one of my favorite numbers, like 22. But so like a lot of children at the age of 2 will remember their past life, and there's even kids who will like speak different languages, or they will literally one of the kids he was talking about like in India that like he was some diplomat or whatever, and he starts telling and his handwriting his handwriting like when he was like reached the age of like 6 or 7, they analyzed his handwriting and then the handwriting of the guy they like found this diplomat that he said he was in his past life, and everything he had said was checked out, and it's like where would this kid
No, it's crazy. There's even other stories where like this kid that got killed, hypothetically in his past life he got murdered, and he knows exactly where he got murdered. He found the murder scene where he was buried. The weapon that
me though, like I'd be like, someone killed me, I'm coming back.
Exactly. No, he came back and put the guy in jail, like put the murderer in jail because they found the weapon and all that shit, and they cross-reference it, and the guy went to jail because this kid remembered his past life. And
I
like,
love
how
it.
is that not believable? Like, fuck, like that happened. That is an actual
Mhm.
fact that did occur. How do we not believe it? How do we not give it any more attention? Like, how are we not making that
Yeah.
something of importance? You know?
Yeah, I hope that I come back again and
Yeah.
fucking in my murder. I hope so.
Really? I'm hoping this is my last one. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I know. In my past life, I definitely know that I was a man. I
Really?
definitely
Interesting.
know that for a fact. Like, I think something that just in life, what I I like struggle with is like not struggle with, but something that I always make
I
sure.
got my boy. He's my friend. Joel. This is the first time we have a
Yes, we have a guest.
a guest
Yo,
at
what's
the
up,
interview.
girl?
Are you?
Well, she was talking about her past lives, bro. This is an interesting one.
Yeah,
So you were saying? Sorry, don't get.
we're doing a past life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably was a man though.
Interesting.
Like-
You didn't give any explanation why, by the way. I was waiting.
Oh, what is? Is your roommate?
No, he's my friend. He just needed my printer, so he came.
Oh, basically, I think I was just a man because I don't like now. I don't feel comfortable. Like I feel most comfortable, I guess, in a dress, or I have to be wearing lipstick, or
Mhm.
like I don't wear makeup a lot of time, but like I have to feel. Ew, I said like a lot, but it's something I try not to do. But I feel most comfortable in femininity. Like almost it feels like I'm doing drag as a woman. Like
Ooh.
I feel like femininity is like where I feel super like something that I like I need earrings or I need this to feel comfortable to feel. And I think it's like I have to overcompensate as a woman
Interesting.
and be this ever since I've hit I was like, oh I like nobody wore uniforms with dresses, like that was lame.
Mhm.
And I would always wear dresses or skirts and like
Mhm.
always try to not be like anyone else or like try to find my ladylikeness or
I like that. I mean, first of all, I appreciate you sharing these things, but I think that's interesting. It definitely it's peculiar to each individual. Like some people will probably like have the other experience or whatnot, but I don't know. I think we must have gone through stuff, and I don't believe it's very naive to think that it ends here. That this one road thing that you just live and then you die and then you move on. It feels too much for just to be so simple, like. And if it is, even if it is, yeah. If I live this shit for like that's it and it ends there and there's nothing. Like,
you can't have any feelings about it, bro. You're gonna be dead.
Exactly. It was fun. No, but it was a fun ass ride. Like I had a fucking
Yeah.
good time all through it, and that's what I value too. Like that's why I try to not stick too much time into things that I do for like my future because like you gotta live it, and that's why so many people I wish I could just shake them and be like,
That
motherfucker, like, you've got
now,
this one life.
now.
Yeah, exactly. That too. No, but the power now is incredible, and I recommend it to whomever is going through any type of things because that guy went through shit, and he talks out of experience, which is valuable.
Please check out check out this is funny. But I have a thing that I started. It's basically I'm doing art installations around LA.
Okay.
And so it's called Presence in LA, like being present, but like presents.
Interesting.
But they're also gifts, like presents.
That's beautiful. I like that. How does it work?
So actually, where is it? This piece, I don't know if you see it. It's like they're like wood cutouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one is a piece that I'm dropping them off in LA, and they're like pieces on canvas. So I'm just like tying them up somewhere or wood cutouts. Or like cut one out jigsaw. But yeah. They're anyway, keep a lookout for that.
You're just leaving them in the world in LA and having someone come by and pick it up, whoever wants to.
Yeah. No, you could just like they're just there. But I know LA, they're probably gonna steal them, and that's also an honor. I don't care. Yeah. I'm just like putting it out gift. You can have it.
Interesting.
They're there.
Idea. So when are you gonna start promoting this idea?
I just put it on Instagram, but I don't really have it attached to my name or anything. It's like not anonymous, but like it's just presence in LA, and if you want to check it out.
I mean, I think everyone should go check it out. I think everyone should go check out Chelsea here. She's an amazing artist, very interesting person too.
Thank
you. I had a great talk.
Yeah, and download Peace Unique at
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Something like that, and beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, Chelsea. It was an amazing interview, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. And bye, Diego.
Hey, Joe, she's saying bye to you, bro.
Bye, gorgeous.